kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now it's that time of the month again when we do our quick look back at the month's UK motorcycle press, in particular what's been in MCN. This is more crap than news for October. Okay, so the edition from the 5th of October then, on the front page it was all about the launch of the new Honda Fireblade, much awaited launch. And in fact that's the first story that I've picked out here. Here's the bike, always been a bit of a legend of a machine, but it has in recent years with the, the likes of the BMW and the Ducatis and so on, has been somewhat left behind in the technology stake. So Honda have given it a much needed revamp, and in this case what they've done is gone for making it a good road riding bike by the sounds of it. They've not gone for top horsepower, I think it's something like 189 brake horsepower, something like that. And it's 197 kilograms in weight, but what they have done is really thrown all the electronics at it, which, as I say, was something that was lacking before. So looks like it's going to be a really good practical, well, I say practical, it's a sports bike. What sports bike's practical on the road really, but looks like it's going to be a one to watch in the next few months, and a realistic bike to maybe ride on the road. We'll see what the reviews have to say on it when people have actually ridden it, but for now it just looks nice. Front end's been tidied up, really nice looking machine, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Next story that I've picked out here is this, and this is now the launch of the Ducati Supersport. This is the bike that we got some sneak previews of a few months back when it was shown at World Ducati Week in one of the containers, sort of thing that Ducati does occasionally. And it's their sort of new sport touring bike, if you like. It's part of the biking world that maybe hasn't been very well catered for of late. It's kind of been a bit abandoned, the sport touring field, because people have been going more for adventure bikes and so on. But Ducati are back with this. It looks lovely. It's got sort of overtones, I think, of the Panigale about it. Although I'm not too sure I like the look of the front. There's a lot of lights on the front, whereas with the Panigale there's more air intake rather than light. But anyway, not a bad job. Be very interesting to see what the test riders have to say about it. It's based on the engine that's in the Hypermotard, so it's I think it's 937cc V-twin. Got all the electronics again. It's got a really nice looking trellis frame. Ducati very quick to point out that it's not part of the Panigale family. So again, this is very much aimed at being a real world road bike. So really looking forward to seeing some of the first reviews of that, and maybe even seeing it up at the Birmingham show in November, hopefully. So that's the Ducati Supersport. Next thing I've picked out from this edition is here again, yet more bikes. It's that time of the year when all the manufacturers release their bikes as we're coming up through show season. And just wanted to point this lot out. This is the R9T derivatives, if you like. So we've got the a Sportster, which just has this big fairing on it. Great if you like that sort of thing, doesn't actually do much for me. But what I really like is this one down the bottom here. This is the R9T Pure, which is the cheapest R9T that you can buy. Really cut back, stripped back, and it's the sort of thing that you can do your own customization job on. It comes in, I think, at under 10 grand, I think I read. So quite accessible bike to get into the world of R9T, and you can make it your own with absolutely loads of accessories that they're going to release for it. So again, looking forward to seeing that one in the flesh. And then last for this edition, Triumph. They've been releasing new bikes left, right and centre the last few years. Well, this year no exception. They've come out now with two new Bonnevilles, and these two are kind of baby Bonnevilles. These are based on the 900cc engine, the new engine that is in the street, what's it called now? The Speed, you know the one. Anyway, so these look exactly like the bigger T120s. They're calling these the T100s. Fantastic looking machines. I mean, what a great way to get into biking, because these are going to be fairly lightweight and very easy to ride. Can't wait to have a go on one of these. I think they absolutely look fantastic. As I say, 900cc, they've got 59 foot-pound of torque, it says here. Traction control, ABS, twin clocks. They absolutely look the business. So looking forward to seeing those in the flesh. And then the other one that they've released this in the last couple of weeks is this. They're calling it the Street Cup. It's kind of a cafe racer version of the Street Twin. That was the word I was looking for, the Street Twin. But this is, as I say, a cafe version of it, cafe racer version. So new pipes, new seat cowl, new paintwork, and also some new geometry as well. So nice looking bike. Look forward to seeing that in the flesh. So that was the first paper to go through. Next one is this. This is the October the 12th edition. Three stories here I've picked out. First one, just more actually on that new Street Cup, the new Triumph. And this is where the designer of the bike, Stuart Wood, is actually saying, or he might have been the project leader. It says here he's the man behind Triumph's retro range. But anyway, he's basically saying it's not just a revamped street twin. It's not you know, like a bike with an inspiration kit, but it is actually a fully new bike. It's got well, not fully new, but it's got new geometry, it's got new ride height, at the rear has been changed, all sorts of things have been tweaked with it. So don't think of it as like one of those inspiration kits that they did, for example, the Scrambler with last year. Much to my disappointment, because I was hoping they were going to come out with a new Scrambler. But anyway, so there we go. So that's the new Street Cup. Look forward to seeing that in Birmingham next month, maybe. What else have I picked out here? Missed this one. Just a quick mention, this a new GS. Not to get too excited though, this is the new G310 GS. So it's an entry-friendly GS. It's going to come in at reasonable price. I think it's around about the £6,000 mark they're predicting. It just looks a bit like the bigger GS. I think it looks much nicer than the current F800 and looks more like the R1200, albeit with a very small windscreen. But really like the look of that, and if you're new to biking or you want to get your first big bike, that might be one worth considering if you're into the adventure game. And then last but not least in this edition, I've just pulled out, if I can find it, this story here, which is kind of irony really. It's all about one of the journos at MCN, Michael Guy, who's been riding an Africa Twin this year as his long-term bike. He actually dropped it this week. In fact, he slid on a white line when it was damp, which is a nightmare. And he's talking about the damage he did. The reason I pointed it out is because if you've been watching my videos, you will have noticed that I dropped my Panigale a couple of weeks ago. Did no damage, or very negligible damage, I'm glad to say. But in the case of the Africa Twin, he damaged the handguards, he's knocked the footrests off, he's damaged the crash bars and so on. So a little bit of damage done to that, but just to show, not just me, even the pros drop their bikes. Okay, so that was that. That was the October 12th edition. Moving on, week 3. This is the October 19th edition. First story here. Look at this beauty. This is the new Yamaha R6. What a stunning looking bike. Now again, the mid size bike, the sort of 600cc category, has been a bit eclipsed in the last few years with things like the baby Panigale and the Street Triple and variants of that are starting to nudge that Supersport engine size up towards the 1000cc. So it's a real change to see a 600cc come out again. And they've done an absolutely amazing job with the looks of this. It looks just like the R1 to my eyes. And again, they've thrown all the electronics at it. I think it looks absolutely stunning. And let's hope it revitalises the mid-size category. Really can't wait to see that one and hear what it sounds like. As I say, it's got all the electronics and just looks fantastic, I think. So well done, Yamaha. They really are doing great things with the bikes that they've been releasing the last few years. They've really come on leaps and bounds from, say, where they were 3 years ago. Okay, the next item was in their garage feature that they have in the magazine or the paper each week. And this again was how to rescue a dropped bike. It's just of interest to me because that's uppermost in my mind at the moment. This one has had some serious damage done, geometry knocked out and so on, but it's just talking through some of the things to check if you do drop your bike. And then, last but by no means least, it's that time of year when MCN do their massive Bike of the Year comparison. And these are the various category winners. I won't go through them all, but just to point out some of the things in here are not particular surprises, maybe some are. So the best tourer once again was the BMW R1200 RT. It's won that now for I think 3 years running. Great bike, I love it. That won't be any surprise to you if you've watched other videos on my channel. The MT10 Yamaha came out as the best naked. Again, an awesome looking machine, yet to ride one, but look forward to trying soon. And the Panigale S surprised me, is coming out as the top sports bike. Last year it was the R1, but they're saying MCN that having lived with it for a year, it's not as comfortable as the Panigale. It wasn't as quick around the track as the Panigale, so this year the Panigale S gets top sports bike. And then the really odd one, from my point of view, is their overall Bike of the Year winner, is this, the Honda RC213 VS, which is basically a homologation special. It's effectively a Moto GP bike that you can buy for the road, but the thing costs £137,000, so it might be an amazing bit of technology. Honda are only making 200 of them, or in fact less than 200, since their factory was hit by an earthquake. So theoretically anybody could buy one, but you've got to have 137 grand, and presumably at less than 200 being made worldwide, they're probably all sold by now. So a strange winner, I think, this year for Bike of the Year. But there we go. MCN get to ride them all, so they can say what they like. Okay, and then the last story from this particular edition is actually one of the letters that was written in. This is by a letter written in by a chap called Vince Scarth, who's selling his second-hand bike, and just asks MCN really for their advice on whether he should let people do test rides on the bike. Very interesting problem. I've sold second-hand bikes. I've never had people ask for a test ride, but if I were to buy a second-hand bike, I would very much like to ride it first. And their advice effectively is don't let people do it unless they give you all the money up front, and there's an understanding that if they crash it, it's theirs, sort of thing. So an interesting point in that. Be interested on your views in the comments on that one. Do you let people test ride bikes if you're selling them? Anyway, so yeah, that one just piqued my interest, so something to consider when I come to sell my bikes. Not that I'm looking to do that at the moment. And then last but not least, this week's edition, only out today, absolutely incredible. The top story, Cal Crutchlow won the Australian Grand Prix. So this is his top step on the podium, second time this year. You may recall earlier in the year he won the Czech Grand Prix. No British rider has ever won the Australian Grand Prix, so it's a massive, massive deal. So well done to Cal. And again, I'm just thoroughly disappointed that the UK media didn't make anything of it. Hardly got a mention on the news. Yeah, it's such a massive deal. Of course, it doesn't matter now because we all know Marc Marquez is world champion, but nonetheless, great for Cal. So that was the front page story. Next thing I've picked out here is this, and you can see a picture of this on the screen here. This is the new, again, another new Triumph. This is the new Bonneville Bobber that was revealed at a launch event last week. Absolutely stunning looking bike. Can't wait to see the reviews of this. They've gone for the bobber look. One of the things that strikes me about it is the seat, the way it's kind of floating there. They've done some very clever stuff with the suspension. It looks like a hardtail, but in fact it's got a single shock mounted underneath the seat hidden. It's got, again, the modern T120 high torque engine in it, so it's going to go well. It's going to sound great. It looks absolutely stonking, so can't wait to have a go on one of those. So well done, Triumph. When you're going to bring out a scrambler is all I can say. A proper scrambler that's not an inspiration kit, because that's the one I'd like. Anyway, the bobber looks really good. Can't wait to have a look at one of those close up at the NEC. The other story I picked out here, again, I'm not big on sports, as you may have gathered, but it's just incredible that Marco Simoncelli, it was 5 years ago since he was killed. Don't know if you used to watch MotoGP then, but one of the top riders, real character with his massive shock of hair. I'm very jealous of that. Tragically got killed. The guy was only about 24, I think, when it happened, so had a long career ahead of him, and a real shocker. But for me, really, it's just the fact that it's 5 years since that happened. Where's the time gone? And then the last thing I've got here, oh yeah, it was just the story on Cal again, winning the Australian Grand Prix, which we've already talked about. So an amazing effort by Cal. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That was it. What was in MCN this month? If you don't read it, blimey. If you don't read it, there's no need to, because you can just wait for the next edition of More Crap Than News. Until then, this has been the Missed and Fly. Cheerio.